He saw the flicker of terror on the young face that was still very pale. "Okay," the boy murmured. Evidently, he was determined to say more. "I feel I ought to thank you, doctor, for having saved my life." Right? So he was filled with so many things. He wanted to inquire many things. He wanted to ask many questions to Dr. Sadao, but he could not because he was restricted by Dr. Sadao. Dr. Sadao was carrying a very reserved nature in front of him. He did not allow him to ask many questions or to speak much in front of him. But he said, "Okay, but I want to say this, that you have saved my life. I want to thank you for this." Okay. "Don't thank me too early," Sadao said coldly. Coldly means in a very harsh way, you may say. And he saw the flicker of terror again in the boy's eyes. Terror as unmistakable as an animal's. The scars on his neck were crimson for a moment. Those scars, what were they? Sadao did not ask. Okay? Because Dr. Sadao knew this thing, the more he will talk with the person, with the prisoner, the more he will try to find out that what Dr. Sadao is going to do. And Dr. Sadao himself didn't know that what he should do with this prisoner. Till now, he was doing only his duty, his responsibility as a doctor. Professionally, he was trying to save the life, and he had saved the life of this prisoner. But evidently, that what he is going to do with him, he had not decided yet. That is why he did not want to answer any question. Right? So he said that, "Do not thank me," on an earlier basis, right? And he could see the terror in his eyes because he was a bit harsh towards him. And whenever he was answering him in such a cold way, in such a harsh way, he could see the terror in his eyes because he was aware of this thing, that he is living with a Japanese family and Japanese were enemies. Japanese and Americans were enemies. So any moment, any minute, the family would harm him in any way and nobody would come to know. So that kind of fear could be clearly seen in his eyes, and his future was not, in the hands of a safe person. Sometimes he used to think like that I'm in a Japanese family, my life is not safe. But on the other hand, he knew this thing, that it is this Japanese family who is sheltering him, who is saving his life, and he is away from danger and all evils only because of this family. So nothing was clear, and Dr. Sadao didn't know clearly that what he is going to do with the prisoner. That is why he was not ready to answer him. In the afternoon, the second thing happened. Hannah working hard on unaccustomed labor. Unaccustomed means she was not accustomed to do household chores. She has never done, because right from the beginning, when she got married in this family, she found a number of servants. So she was not accustomed to perform different kinds of work, right? So she was unaccustomed to it. Labor means hard work. She was not in a habit of doing such a hard work and household chores. So she saw a messenger come to the door in official uniform. Her hands went weak and she could not draw her breath. The servants must have told already. She ran to Sadao, gasping, unable to utter a word. Gasping means suffocating, out of breath, you may say. But by then the messenger had simply followed her through the garden, and there he stood. She pointed at him helplessly. Helplessly means she couldn't say a single word to Dr. Sadao. So when she was working, right, she saw a messenger coming towards the main door of the house, and he was in an official uniform. And Hannah got terrified. And what the idea she had made up in her mind, that the servants must have told to someone, and the news has reached to the Japanese police, and that is why Japanese official had come up to their house to arrest Dr. Sadao, because they have come to know the presence of the American prisoner. And she was gasping, she was out of breath, she could not breathe easily, right, because she got nervous, right. And when she reached to Dr. Sadao's room, she found that the official, the person, had come up behind her, and he was standing there. Sadao looked up from his book. He was in the office, and the other partition of which was thrown open to the garden for the southern sunshine. So Dr. Sadao was in his reading room and he saw the presence of the official who was wearing the uniform, but he had asked that what is it. He asked the messenger and then he rose, seeing the man's uniform. So when he addressed to the official, because the official was standing right there, just at the doorstep, so Dr. Sadao, just to pay respect, because he was wearing an official uniform, just to pay respect to the uniform, Dr. Sadao had stood up and then he asked, "What is it?" You are to come to the palace, the man said. The old general is in pain again. So the old general, who was in the treatment of Dr. Sadao, was again in trouble, and he was, not in a good health. So this was informed to Dr. Sadao, and now here it was clear that why that official was there in the family, why he had visited them. He had visited because he had to take Dr. Sadao to the palace, to General Takema, because Dr. Sadao was treating him and he was under his treatment, and he required urgent visit of Dr. Sadao. So for that reason that official had come up. Oh, Hannah breathed. Is that all? All? The messenger exclaimed. Is it not enough? Is it not enough that the general was in great pain? He was in trouble. Is not that enough? So Hannah had said this thing, oh, is that all, in different context. But the official could not get it. And he said that, okay, you are saying, is that all? That is enough that the General Takema was in great pain and he requires urgent visit of doctor. Okay. So we're leaving our discussion here today. We shall resume our discussion in the next video. Thank you.